I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. And most of all, we thank you for Roush and Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the R07 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires that bring performance and power to the track. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. My two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the little E's. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
All right. Here we are, another episode of RR After Dark, the official podcast of the iRacing League Racing Revolution. This podcast, as always, made possible by our wonderful sponsors, Chapman Environmental Services, Ultimate Siding and Gutters, Butt Kicker, and Simtrax Broadcasting. I am your host and driver of the number 14 Slurp Sodas Ford Mustang, Michael Bennett. Today I have my co-host Kevin Orlando Jr., driver of the number 27 Starry Ford Mustang, and Nicholas Alves, driver of the number 24 Coastal Financial Chevy Camaro. Here in just a bit, hopefully we should be getting Mr. All About Bugs in here with us, but until then we'll kind of hang out and go from there. So today we've got another special guest with us. So we're going to be talking to him. We're also going to go over Kansas, how that was, how my internet decided to fuck me and not let me participate, and then look at Darlington. So this should be a good one. Hopefully Justice gets here in time. And with that being said, our special guest of the evening is Mr. Brandon Dunford, driver of the number 56 Pensacola Insurance Inspections Toyota Camry. How's it going, Brandon?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Dude, awesome. It's good to have you, man. I know I told you this before the broadcast, but I'm going to say it again so that everybody knows. You are the first Toyota driver we've had on the podcast, dude. Congratulations. I think Kevin's going to make a trophy.
Oh yeah, I'll totally do something.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, dude, let's jump straight into it. So you're a Racing Revolution rookie this year. Came in, made a huge impact so far. I mean, instantly, top 5 in points. I don't know what happened at Kansas. I haven't looked at it yet, but dude, awesome to have you. It's been great. Definitely some good competition for us. Let's talk a little bit about how you got into iRacing.
Yeah, so I got into iRacing. I'm just over a year into it now. My cousin, who is part of my team of Mayhem Motorsports and RR, he's the one that originally got me into it. You know, I came from NASCAR Heat all the way up through those, racing those on the Xbox. And finally decided to pull the trigger after talking to my cousin Dylan, just time and time again, hey, what do I need to get? What do I need to buy? What's good setups? Yada, 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 the whole spiel of what you do when you get into this. So he's the one who originally got me into it because, he's been doing it for years and kind of dabble on his setup, when I'm up around his place and stuff. So he's the one that got me into it overall. And then plus, obviously just being a huge race fan and wanting to get into something that is probably as close as you can get to being in a real car.
Actually,
Awesome.
you talk about being in a real car. I actually was just in A fixed, and lo and behold, I was with Roger Carruth. Uh, I beat him. You know, I'm not gonna brag. He did wreck out, so that's how I beat
Yes.
him.
Nice, Nick. There's your 12 seconds of fame in this podcast. That's awesome. Well, cool. So what are you actually driving with now? Like your setup?
So I actually have a Fanatec Club Sport 2.5V or whatever it's called as my wheelbase, and then I have the Club Sport 3V pedals that I'm currently in, and then I have a full next level cockpit that all that's mounted to.
Oh, nice, sweet.
hmm Yeah, so
That's all.
there's a cool little story behind that if anybody's interested to hear it.
Love to
Yeah,
hear it. Go for
right.
it.
Just
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah, so of course, like I said, getting into it with my cousin, I would send him certain setups that I'd found. I did a lot of my shopping through Facebook Market. Um, Finally found this setup, and it was um, a lady selling it, um, and she had everything listed for $1,000. So I got her talked down to 900. So, y'all knowing what kind of setup I have, I had a steal. So, um, I took advantage of it. We settled on 900. Went out there, picked it up. Her husband actually helped me load it up, and he was upset. He worked out of town. He never used it. She was trying to get rid of it, and super upset of the fact of what I paid for it and what I got. Because they ended up getting the base plates for each side for shifter mounts because he used it for piloting as well as the pilot simulator. It come with a butt kicker as well. Haven't worked the kinks out of that one just quite yet, but you know but so I got all that, the whole spiel for 900 bucks, and like I said, with the whole setup that I have, it's around a $2,000 setup.
Dude, that's awesome. I never get that lucky. I always end up paying like 4,000 for the 2,000. I set up some way somehow.
Of course.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I went a little bit more expensive on the computer and the monitor screen, just to make sure that I had something that was capable of running it, and then find out that you kind of overbuy on that. But
Do you currently
right.
use the butt kicker right now? Or are you still having issues with it?
yeah, so it is hooked up.
Yeah.
I just haven't went through and I actually, so when I first got the whole system, the whole setup, it was in a box still, and it was one of those things that uh, I kind of just set off to the side and forgot about it. So just recently, probably 2 weeks ago, got it mounted up under there, ran everything, but I just haven't worked through the logistics on getting it set up to use it
Yeah.
during racing.
A good guy to talk to about that, or I can talk to him for you if you want, is Rob. I have one as well. He gave me the one that he actually won last year, so he was the one that actually helped me set up mine, and telling you, it's literally night and day. It's so helpful on the track, so I'll definitely reach out to Rob for you so you can get that figured out.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that.
Of course.
Hey, so Nick, question. You race just like you're sitting right there, right? What the fuck is it connected to? Would you just put it on the fucking wheels on the bike?
Oh, my butt kicker. So I have like
Yeah,
this wheel, this chair. It's basically a computer chair, but I
yeah,
took the
sure. It's
wheels
like
off
it.
of it.
Yeah.
So it's a cylinder at the bottom, and I just have it wrapped around the cylinder because it comes with the mount to hook to a computer chair, and also comes with a different mount if you have a rig that's like rectangle or squared beams. You can put it on that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Cause that's where I was at. Like I was thinking about getting one too, but where I have this chair, uh, and I got rid of my rig. I
I
didn't want to.
was so I'm obviously really small, so I'm low in my chair. But they made it so it's like a very small like connector piece, so it'll fit inside because you know how you have like the turn thing that makes like the
Hmm.
chair tighter and stuff like that. They made it so it fits right in between it, which is really nice.
Oh, sick. Okay, I'll have to check back into that. Awesome. Well,
uh
dope. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna ask Brandon. I was curious. Well, first off, thank you for showing us and telling us all about your setup. I love hearing guys like what they race with and how they all got their stuff. But I'm a little, my mind's a little skewed. How did you hear about RR and how'd you end up joining exactly?
So Be Rich is
Oh, that
is who
guy.
I know. Yeah, that
Same
guy.
guy.
Yeah. So him and my cousin know each other, have known each other for a really long time. Um, when I first got onto iRacing, my cousin was adamant about me jumping into a different, one of the leagues that he was currently in. I told him, give me some time to get this under, kind of learn it and get a little bit better, right? Obviously, and then go through your licenses. So when I got into that league, B Rich was in that league and raced with him for a full season, actually 2 full seasons. Um, and then toward the end of that second season, he asked me about, joining this league, and I was like, yeah, I'm, always looking to continue to race. I mean, I race 4 days a week, so yeah, absolutely, I'll check it out. And so that's just how it became, Mr. B Rich.
Oh, lemon juice himself, huh?
But
Jesus.
let's
All
just
right.
make sure that we understand this.
I know that
better
was going to
branded.
come back today.
I am
What?
the better branded. Let's just make sure that is very clear.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, the stats don't lie, so
Nope.
it is factual.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get that. Awesome. Well, it seems like Richardson is pulling in a lot of people into our league. So, dude, that's awesome. Well, we're glad you got in here. You definitely race clean. You're definitely a good add-on to the league, dude. It's super fun racing around you. Yeah. So with that, let's jump right in. What did you think about Kansas? How did it feel? And don't leave anything out. Some of us didn't get to run it.
Man, I felt really good about Kansas coming into it. I had ran it the night before, stayed in the top 5 all night, even through the, green flag stops. Obviously, green flag stops were hard with the way the pit entry was. So having a lot of green flag stops, made it a little bit more difficult to get in. But I had a super fast car, took that setup and turned it in, to Wednesday. I felt really good about it. I knew that I didn't have a short run car. I knew that I had a long run car. Obviously, we had a bunch of those cautions, kind of right off the rip, and then kind of got into a groove there toward the middle of the race, and then it kind of got back to short runs there at the end. So I had to make a couple of little adjustments, obviously, to try to counteract that to get the car to still be fast, but if it did go long, still have that long run speed. So, to me, the race was awesome. As far as everybody was running clean. For the most part, obviously we did have those wrecks, but yeah, I mean, it was one of those things. I got caught up in some stuff, and just didn't really have the car at the end. But with the aggressiveness at the end, I was able to still put it, I think, 11th. From
Nice.
coming from, I think, 16th or something.
Nice. Did you?
Nice.
Yeah, not bad. Saw you back there at one point. And before that, there was actually a chance you'd gotten past me and broke into the top 5 during that green flag run. Going back to the fact you said you had a long run car. And then we started getting those cautions, and I had no idea where you went. I just kept checking my mirror. I was like, where's this guy? Because, again, we got paired up on the brackets this week.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, of course, a little nerve-wracking. Long green flag run. You drive by me like I'm standing still. And I'm just like, oh, great. This is how I'm going to lose the bracket. It's this long run. And then we get into the cautions. You're gone. I'm like, what happened? Did something
Mhm.
happen, or just, get shuffled out with pit cycles and whatnot?
Yeah, so it was a little bit to do with the pit cycles and stuff. And then once I came down the pit to, I guess it was probably one of those, uh, longer runs, had a little bit of issue on pit lane. And then when I came back out, I happened to hit one of those cautions, and then that's when I got turned.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
Oh, were you the one? Were you one of the ones that got caught up in the Tay? It was like a 3 wide situation, and you guys all turned. It was you, Tay, and Kynan. Was that the one?
no,
No.
no, that
Oh.
Oh, it
wasn't
was
me.
Jeremy. That was Jeremy
Mm.
Tay and Kynan.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Gotcha.
Yeah, because I had tried the early pit stop or the late pit stop strategy,
Mhm.
when it started to unfold that way. So, you had the guys that are kind of coming in, what it was, maybe 8 laps early or so, maybe 5. I don't know, really know. So I try to take it all the way to the end, And of course, it didn't work for me. So I did lose a lot of ground on that. I say a lot, but I mean, let's just say 5 spots, give or take. So then I had to try to work back through that. And then, of course, the cautions didn't help play into that factor either. So, and then once I got turned, it was kind of one of those things, just try to fight as hard as you can to get back.
Yeah, I kind of felt like the same way. Like so my strategy going in was I had the win in the back pocket, so I knew I could do something different than what everyone else was going to. So the first caution we had in stage one, didn't take tires. I took fuel only because I wanted the extra set in the back
Hmm.
pocket. Because granted, we had all the green white checkers, but I didn't end up using it. So anyway, I ended up getting in a wreck after the first caution in stage one where Wayne got turned and he got turned into me. So I felt like the damage I got from that wreck, it wasn't that much. It was like 2.5 minutes of damage, but I felt even after I repaired the whole thing, I didn't have the same speed and it just felt like the car was bogged down. So I don't know if that's like the same thing that you felt in your car after like the little bit of damage you got.
Um, no, I mean, it still had the speed. Uh, but I mean, obviously, with any kind of wrecking of any sort to the car, it's obviously going to drive a little bit different. So it just wasn't there as where it was before. Just one of those things.
Gotcha. So so we've done this, I think, since the beginning of this season, but we've actually never really asked our guest about this question. How do you feel about our new rule this year using the choose cone on restarts?
So man, I absolutely love it. I think it adds that you know, extra spice to it, if you will. So you could be sitting seventh, eighth spot, 10th, wherever, and people choose wrong, and you get to gain the spot. So it adds that little bit of extra to keep you aware of what's going on, who's choosing, where they're choosing, where have they been fast. So it keeps you a little bit more on edge of what you need to be doing and where you need to go, and if your car can even do that. Like Kansas, my car did not do good on the low line. So I tried it one time and of course got ate up, lost 3 or 4 spots on the restart. So stuff like that, just knowing that. But I think it adds that extra challenge to what is already a challenging feat, for these races. So I absolutely love it. I don't think it should go any other way, but um, except, having that choose.
Perfect. I love hearing positive things about how we like to change things up. I know me and Bennett, what we do is we try to use the choose cone for like a team aspect of it as well, so try to go with a line with our team depending on like what line is more like has more cars in it. So like you were saying, like you could on a regular restart be in the sixth row, but everyone chooses the top, so you end up going low, and now you're in third, fourth, um, laying on the bottom, which is nice. But so Kevin, I have a question for you actually.
Sure.
So with the season, the way it's gone so far, right? The the guys you would think at the top aren't there anymore, and obviously Rob won last night. Do you think there's a turning point now in the season where you'll see the top guys coming to the top?
Uh, maybe, maybe not. We got a stretch of tracks here that are pretty typical, cookie cutter tracks. From Dover, and then Kansas, and then we're gonna go to Darlington, which is a beast of its own, but still, you're what is it, a little bit more than a mile and a half for Darlington. That either
Yeah,
way. Then we hit Charlotte. Those tracks we're gonna see the same people up front pretty much any time. The people that have a lot of time and hours on the ovals are just going to know a little bit more of what to do and a little bit more of the strategies and games we can play with it. But then again, a few races later down the line, we come back to a track none of us have seen before. We have the Chicago Road Course, and I think that stretch following that is really going to be, you know, it could be just like the beginning of the season where you get a lot of surprise winners, a lot of really weird happenings with who we're going to be seeing at the front. That whole section, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I remember looking at the section of tracks that follow up the road course, and they're tracks that anyone could really surprise us at.
I'm going to hope that this is the one-off for everybody that was good last year. And I think Brandon being a rookie this year and being up there in the top 10 in points can also attest to this too. Um, I hope all you guys wreck the rest of the year, every single race.
Yeah,
I hope
absolutely.
Justice never makes in the top 10 ever again. This year,
Well, have Nick keep wrecking me.
right?
Hey,
I
I
hope.
still got to get a win.
Yeah. I hope Kevin constantly gets his wins taken away from him when he
Yeah.
gets them. I hope. I hope. I just
That's
hope.
so
I hope
brutal.
so. I know it's been long enough. Time heals all
Yeah.
wounds, right?
The next week it was long enough. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I do agree with you though. I think some of the core talent now that we're in the thick of the season, you're gonna start seeing those guys rise back to the top. It's inevitable. Talent is gonna bring them back to where they're supposed to be. We all knew we weren't gonna go through this season without Robert Rader winning. You know what I mean? As much as we
fingers were
all hope.
crossed.
I know.
Fingers were
I
There was
think we
people
all hope.
hoping for sure.
I mean, what is it? A law of whatever the fuck it is says, anything's possible. But I was hoping, and now he's in the
Well,
playoffs.
Ray went ahead and put money on the line, so of course Rob smelled that and had to go for it.
Mhm.
He was pulling all the stops last night, that's for sure. I could tell, watching the restarts. He was doing everything he could to try to stay up front, and he did what he needed to do.
Some said he
Yeah.
even cut the fiber in fucking Utah.
I mean, he might have.
See, I
Might
felt
have.
good. I felt good like after leaving Talladega and thought I could also make a run. And then Dover probably at top 5 speed, wrong place, wrong time. Yesterday was probably going to finish 9th or 10th with some stage points and wrong place, wrong time. So, yeah, I mean, I think you're at that point of the year now where it's got to start turning around for the guys that are really fast, really good. Those are going to be the ones where you start having them show up.
I think
I
going
think we.
especially to a tough track like Darlington, where it's it's a racer's track where you have to have control of your car at all times. It's a big track with tires, so the guys that have that core talent and that core speed, I think this race coming up next week is going to prove to who is legit and who isn't really.
So on that, do we think Raiders back? We think. Do we think we see dominance the way that we did in any other season that we've been in,
I don't think
or do
you'll
you think it's
ever
a one-off?
I don't think you'll ever see the dominance like he did in season one. To say that he's back, I think that's a yes, with stipulation of he's back in the terms of top 5 speed. I don't think you're gonna see him knock off back to back to back wins like you would think he would, just because the talent in this league is so massive now. Like you got guys like Brandon, Justice, Caleb, Jeremy's having the best season so far ever. James Loveland's back. Trevor, like you got guys with core speed and core talent that uh, he's gonna have to beat straight up, and I don't think you'll ever see that dominance again.
It kind of just depends on how deep y'all's pockets are.
Yeah, that's true.
I can make it very hard for him.
No, I
well,
just don't
we can
think
take that offline, Brandon.
the chances of him rattling off like 7 more wins from here to the end of the season, I don't think you see that. I mean, I guess it depends on what you consider dominance, right? Because what would we call dominance last year? Joey Logano winning 3 times and winning the title. I mean, that wasn't a dominant season, but he was, what, 1 win short of the season record.
I guess I
for
would
what they were
say
at last year. So
back up in top 3 in points, where he has been the entire time. Well, he's leading most of the time, right? But then he had Trevor, Caleb to kind of deal with at points. Grant's always there. I think that's where we find out if he's back or not. As soon as he breaks into that top 5 and he can consistently stay there, where he's shown that he can do a season long in that spot.
I think it comes down to mistakes as well. I feel like you've seen a lot of mistakes on his part, and it may not be at his hand. It may come from getting caught in a wreck, from a pit strategy, getting caught in somebody else's stuff, but the mistakes, the guy's got tons of talent, right? So minimizing those mistakes you could start to see, the progression of him coming back, because I feel like that's what's happened a lot to him. He's had a speed almost everywhere we go, right? But something happens along the way that puts him either out of the race, or puts him too deep in the field to where he can't make it back up in enough time or something like that. So I think it's the minimizing mistakes that'll get him back up there.
He's got the number 12 effect going on.
So that was my problem yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't see Rob make the mistake that I did yesterday, right? Where you uncheck tires trying to play a strategy, you choose not to play that strategy, and then screw yourself, not taking tires there in the first green flag. So yeah, you don't see Rob make those kind of mistakes. Eventually, execution just wins out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you guys had on here crazy restarts. Is there anything we want to talk about as far as what happened? It's kind of hard for me to see because I was just in the broadcast booth basically watching my team all night.
I think it comes down to who's willing to try something on restarts. Like you got guys that aren't in the top 5 or that are like in the latter part of the top like 10 also that are in the go mindset, whereas like a track like Kansas, it was all about track position really, because if you guys got strung out, you couldn't really make up that much ground, especially with how the tires wore. So that's why I think you saw a lot of those restarts. As soon as you get across the start finish line, you can't change your lane. But as soon as you cross it, you saw 3, 4 wide, and I think that's where a bunch of the incidents staggered was from the restarts. Guys trying to make up ground, guys trying to save their cars. Like you saw a bunch of guys sideways on restarts because they were trying to get a little bit too much out of it. But for the most part, I think restarts, even though they were crazy, I think we only had 2 major incidents that caused a caution.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
when
cars
I
sideways, I think Kevin had the best
oh,
save last night.
Oh.
It looked like you were back at Bristol Derp.
I mean,
he was
sideways.
going out.
It's every track. At some point, I'll probably be sideways because I push it to the limit because I don't have the speed to stay up front otherwise. I can't just relax and be up front. I have to get everything I can out of the car, and quite often I find myself in a similar situation. But last night was completely on me, though. I didn't realize that Loveland was to my inside. I thought he was behind me. And I came down the track looking to get kind of a different exit on the corner, try to get a good run down a straightaway, and just came right across his nose. Had no idea he was there until I was hitting him. I still have no idea how I managed to get it going straight again, but credit to him, and I think it might have been Tay behind him. I saw it on the broadcast today. Not 100% sure what other car it was, but they checked up and gave me the opportunity to save it. They didn't just drive through me, which is, something I really appreciate with the group of guys we have in this league, is that they actually, they don't want to wreck you. They don't see an opportunity like that. Like, hey, if I give him a little tap, he ain't coming back. They still want to race straight up, and I appreciate them checking up and giving me an opportunity to not die.
I think on the restarts, and anybody that ran officials last week leading up to Kansas this week can probably vouch for this. Whatever update they did yesterday morning, the car drove totally different than it did all week. So it was very weird. I thought, well, I'll fall back, save a little tire. So I qualified 7th, dropped back to like 13th, 14th. Like, I'll let these guys burn them off. I'll catch them. And the next thing I know, me and Trevor are back there battling for 14th and 15th and can't go. Like, we were, I don't know, half a second off the car in front of us, and we just weren't making up ground, even though we had saved tires. So it was
Well, you
tough.
say save tire, but how much tire were you really saving? I found last night that the tires were wearing possibly even more. The car felt slower, but the tire wear just seemed exaggerated over, I've been running Kansas almost every day since last week, and I was just wearing the right front. Yesterday, all my tires were shot. All of them.
I can just tell you, I was surprised that the 2-tire strategy worked for anybody, because typically my left sides were more worn out than my rights. So people going in and taking rights only, it really surprised me if that ever worked. But just so you know, tire wear, I found this out when I didn't take tires in that first green flag pit stop. tire wear is exponentially higher once you cross the 50%
yeah.
wear threshold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it took me 50 laps to get to 50% right front tire wear and 11 laps to get to 10%. So, yeah, it was ridiculous.
That's actually something I haven't thought of, but something that I think would be a good topic. Maybe we even hit it next one, but where those updates come in between the time that we have a full week of running officials, and then it switches. Like right now, it's already at Darlington, right? And we don't run Darlington until this upcoming Wednesday, and then it's going to switch to Charlotte before we get to Darlington, right? With those updates being made, how drastic of a change that is for strategies that people have worked on all week. And then they go into the race, and like you said, Justice, it puts you in a spot where, oh shit, I didn't practice this. Like this, I never planned for this to happen. Now here I am back in 14th battling.
Maybe a quick touch just right now about it,
Yeah.
because I think it was worse. We're not battling what they were doing during COVID. For any of us that were around when that was a thing, when NASCAR was running the weekly thing with the IRL drivers running, we were getting updates every week. So what we were driving, how the tracks were driving, how the cars were driving was literally changing. Sometimes they were doing updates twice a week. So that was probably a little wilder. I think right now we're getting mid-season updates maybe once or twice during the season right now. So it shouldn't be that big of an effect, but when it happens, it's drastic, just like it was last night. With everything new they find out about the car, luckily enough, NASCAR gives them a lot of information. So they gotta put it in here. It's why it's a sim, but it does suck when you practice all week for something, show up, and it's like like you're driving a totally different car.
Yeah, unfortunately for us, the updates always come at Tuesday nights or Wednesday mornings, so it's like a flick of the switch for us, really.
That's the worst thing is we run our practice on Tuesday night, and then they'll update it after the practice. We just
Yep.
ran this fantastic session for everyone, had a whole mock race and everything, and all of a sudden we come back out on the track on Wednesday, and it's like, this ain't right. This ain't what I practiced.
Yeah, wad that paper up and throw it away because you got to start from scratch.
Yeah.
It was definitely different. I noticed a difference from Tuesday night running, a race on Tuesday night to running the race on Wednesday evening. It was a little bit of a, oh, okay, this isn't going to work now.
Little
Yeah.
off topic, but Brandon, are you currently at your rig right now?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I was gonna say you have easy access to beverages right behind you if
Yeah,
you were.
yeah.
It was a great spot if that's where it was.
We got kitchen rig, we got toilet rig.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Mine actually sits right by my front door, but due to my webcam and all not working, I had to use my laptop, so that's why I'm at the kitchen.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Well, speaking of things out of the ordinary, I'd like to touch on the 99 car.
Oh no.
In a good way. I'll start this off in a good way. I specifically, while watching the broadcast last night, you can ask Nick. I was still in the team chat, just on my phone watching the broadcast. Every single time he was in an incident, I was like, "You're not gonna fucking believe this," but that wasn't his fault. Not a single fucking one of those accidents were his fault, and yeah, I want to give him a moment of us recognizing it. I know that he's had some bad luck in the league with the incidents and things he gets caught up in. Last night, yeah, I didn't see anything.
I'll
Yeah.
do you one better. Not only was they not his fault, usually if it's not your fault, you're more tuned to mic up and speak your displeasures, right? I think the more impressive part for the 99 car was him not miking up and speaking his displeasures like he would normally do, you know. So I know for us four, we've raced with him for a few seasons, but Brandon, I don't know if you know Kynan too well or the type of driver that he is, but he's a little hot-headed at times, aggressive at times, and yesterday was a completely different driver than what we were used to.
So
I actually felt bad for him.
I want to phrase this to Brandon though, because we have a different perspective on it from being around him for a bit. But I mean, normally this is kind of in the bitch box things aren't going my way. F you, I hate this, whatever. And from my perspective, I look at it like, well, that's why people drive you. But what happened yesterday with him not being the center of attention? He's not the one wrecking people. He's getting wrecked. Didn't respond to it. Just kind of let it play out. Does that work in his favor on your end, Brandon?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. If there's one thing that I can't stand is it somebody taking up the radio feed of just stuff that's not going to really matter, right? It's happened, it's done with. Um, yes, there's going to be the displeasure that you have toward it, but wait till the after the race, man, because there may be some stuff that needs to be said from race control. There may need to be, whatever may need to happen. So I definitely know who he is, obviously from Be Rich and stuff, ever racing with him. Not only that, but from the Discord and stuff like that. But yeah, I gotta say, if it, what he did do with the short time that I've been racing with you guys, what he did last night was, a much better way of approaching it, and just keeping that level head, and letting it play out, like you said, Justice, letting it play out the way it was played out, and then then go talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. I think taking on the chin and just saying, "Hey, look, this racing incident is what it is. You don't have to get mad about all of the incidents. All of the
Yeah,
incidents you can't get mad about, right?
yeah. I mean, I come out with, like I was telling y'all, I had a super fast car, right there in the top. I think I was right there just outside the top five, and I get wrecked. You don't hear me key up. You don't hear me say anything about it, because the biggest thing that I think happens is some people shoot off the hip, and then it ends up being a total different story when you look at the actual footage. I want to see the footage. So, I got turned, left immediately. And I knew that that wasn't from a door bang. That was hard contact to my right rear. I'll wait till after the race. I go watch the footage. And sure enough, it was just the driver trying to get his stuff corrected, from being, caused in an accident. And that right there, if I shoot off the hip and I say, "Hey man, what's your problem?" or start cussing him and take up the radio chatter and stuff like that, then what do I look like as an individual when everybody goes back and they're like, "Well, I'm curious of what Brandon was talking about. I want to go see what he was talking about." And then they see that it wasn't even what I portrayed it to be, you know. So that's why I think, just go watch the footage first. You may be upset, but man, it's already happened. It's done with. It's over with. You're not going to rewind the iRacing, and we're going to be able to replay what happened, and I'm going to get a second chance at that. So, like you said, just take it to the chin, and then go watch the footage for yourself afterwards. And then if that's then if it looks to be what you originally thought it was, then that's why we have the bitch box.
Yeah.
This is what we
Thank God.
utilize Discord too. You'll hear us in team chat. Well, you can't hear us in team chat, but when we're in our Discord team chat, you'll before we mic up in the race, we'll bitch that driver out in team chat,
Right,
and then
yeah.
have them
Yep.
other guys that are there be like, "Hey, by the way, it's not what you thought it was." And it's like, "All right, cool. I'm not miking up in the race."
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
call out laps. I'll say, "Hey, lap 121. Keep that in your bank." To my teammate.
Yep.
Keep that in your bank, because I want to go back and review that and see what happened, because I may not remember the lap or whatever, at the time. So yeah, I do the same thing. Let it let your teammates be the one that have to hear it and be like, "Yeah, just shut up, dude."
So I think on the topic of holding drivers accountable, though, because we've held Kynan accountable, held his feet to the fire about all this. I think the 73 car had a very tough race yesterday. And if Tay was sitting here talking to us, I would say it. Yeah, very, very tough on him. He hit a lot of things yesterday.
Playing a little pinball.
Yep.
Sometimes it happens, Sometimes it happens. You have those bad ones, and that's where it goes all the way back to how you deal with those incidents, right?
Mhm.
If you pop off the hip, like one time over an incident, and then you have a bad night, people are instantly going to be pissed at you. like thinking it's deliberate, or you're an asshole, or you're a terrible driver, or you ran out of talent, like whatever it is. But how you manage those situations and control that, like me and Nick were talking about a certain situation. I won't bring up names earlier, but I was like, dude, if I would have been the one to pull that move earlier, I don't think I get the same reaction from that driver that he gave to the other guy, where he was mad at said driver. But me and this guy have raced together. We know that nothing's intentional. We know each other a little bit better than those two do, and it's like you put me in that position, I make that ballsy call, and make that move. You don't get mad at me because you've raced around me. You know who I am. You get to interact with me. And that's one thing that I like about like kind of my approach with what I've done coming into this league is I want to be that person. You know what I mean? That people want to race clean, and I think that starts with a good start for the 99 car is what he did yesterday, trying to get to that point.
Yeah, and the reason I bring up the 73 and his issues yesterday is he is one of those that is the first one to key up and go, "What the fuck?" when somebody else does something. And not even some of the time it's not even when somebody else does something, right? Bennett experiences at Talladega.
Yeah, I don't know
With
what
being
that was.
called out by Tay, and it was actually Tay's fault. So that's
happens.
where like Brandon was talking about, don't just shoot from the hip. Just take a second. Sometimes you got to cool down. I can be one to shoot from the hip, but typically try not to do it over the radio. Like Nick said, I do it to my team chat, and Wayne shot from the hip quite a bit last night, so it was good that he didn't key up. But and then you got times where like I did last night, where I'll shoot from the hip, and then I'll go to that person's team chat, shoot from the hip at them, and then leave. So
Yeah.
that can
Whoa.
happen.
that
Well,
was,
it's kind of like
that was-
when me and Rob were yelling at each other on that restart where he almost died. We're both blaming each other for that, and then we go back after the race and watch it, and it was just awful net code.
That was luckily enough in admin chat only, so the rest of the field didn't hear that.
The rest of the field didn't have to hear that. That's the benefit of me and Rob wrecking each other. Is no one else has to hear us yelling at each other. It's fine.
Cooler heads.
I don't
usually,
remember. Oh, go ahead.
Cooler heads usually prevail. It's just when it does, and everyone's different with their mentality of how they want to handle things, but you can tell the guys in this league that are more quote unquote mature than others to understand that we're all here for fun. This is a good time. We all like each other. We all want to keep doing this because we have a great time. So it's not something you want to be too upset about, but you also want to say your displeasures, but usually everyone does it in a respectable manner, and most often than not, you actually don't see it because a lot of people are in doing it talking to people one-on-one, whether it be in voice chat or Discord private messaging, which is nice. So, and it also gives you earn that person's respect more, I think, if you see how they react to certain things that go on.
Yeah,
Speaking and oh, go ahead, Brandon.
I was just saying, from all you guys have raced with each other for a while now. Obviously I don't know exact times and stuff, but it's being the rookie that comes in, I kind of that's how I want it to be. I'm not going to shoot off the hip, which I'm just not that guy, period. But I want people to come in because, man, I said it at Daytona. I was like, man, nobody's wanting to work with me. Like, I'm the new guy. No, I get some guys getting good runs, and then they dump, and I'm left to dry. And it's like, so even with that, I'm not upset about it. I'm the new guy on the on the scene, right? So you talked about Tay, Tay at Richmond, running. I was running him really hard, but the thing is I've been running there all day, so I'm not going to change the way I'm running because some new guy, which not new guy, but somebody else in the race is coming up here to race. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to race you just like I've been racing these other guys because we've been door banging up here. We've been bumpering each, front, rear bumper, and whatever the case is, and nobody else had an issue with it, right? So I was, from a rookie standpoint, that's the thing I want. I want guys to earn, they get my respect from my standpoint because I want their respect, and vice versa. So
The only time I've heard you get spicy on the radio.
That was the
That
greatest
was-
radioactive comment I think I heard at Richmond. I think the comment was like something, "Hey buddy, I don't think you've been running up here all day, but I have been," or something like that, dude. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
The funniest part for me was like, well, I've actually been in the top 3-4 all day. I'm like, I do remember when Tay led the entire first stage and screwed himself on pit road, but you didn't pop back up in there, Brandon, until after that. Like, you popped up and we were all kind of used to you being there at that point. It was probably, I don't know, like lap 150, and here comes
was
Tay.
late.
And
Yeah.
Brandon dives on him, and Tay's like, quit diving 56, and that was the end of that. It was radioactive from then on.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things, he started to get loose and, slowing up, and I was still carrying my speed and, trying to make him, mirror drive it. I'm going to dive that car in there, and I have control of my car. I'm not going to intentionally wreck you like that. Now, if that's the last lap, one of those would have been, I'm rolling through and I'm going to give you a good bump and run right there. But no, I'm trying to make you window drive, and I'm trying to get you disoriented on, man, this guy keeps dying. Oh, there he goes again. Oh, there he goes again, because I get in his mind that it's coming and he's going to start making mistakes. And, sure enough, the mistakes happen,
Exactly.
and then the funny thing is you come weeks later and me and him go blow for blow at Dover and have a great time racing each other, just right there against each other, coming off the corners smooth, and then it's like you see what I'm saying? I'm not going to race you any different wherever we're at. I'm still going to race super aggressive, but my aggressive isn't. You don't see me just dumping people and getting them out of my way to get those positions. I'm gonna try to get I'm doing the intimidator thing, right? I'm trying to get you rattled, make you start overdriving that car, make you start thinking about different things that you weren't used to when you're just out there driving Miss Daisy around, right? When there's nobody around you. I think Kevin talked about that, he doesn't have a lot of time up there, so he's got to make those bold and aggressive moves when he is up there, and I've never had any issue with it. I don't mind the aggressive racing. I get a bump and run. That's racing. Don't flat out dump me, but
No, but
I can
expect
tell
anything
you-
that you do, get it back.
I can tell you from people that have raced Kevin, me and Nick can talk about this. We raced Kevin for a long time. That is typically the finger pointed at Kevin.
It happens.
Because he knows, hey, I'm up here. I got to defend this position, and he will block the hell out of you.
I think Bristol was the only time me and him really were racing really aggressive. But at the same time, man, it's Bristol dirt.
Yeah.
So
there were a lot
it's a
of
whole
people that
different.
took it's Bristol dirt. Let me just hit everything.
Yeah, there's two perspectives at Bristol dirt. Hey, it's Bristol dirt. Mistakes are gonna happen, and hey, it's Bristol dirt. I can get away with whatever I want. This is great.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the, I kept hearing you say the rookie thing, and I wanted to. We should have brought this up back when we kind of had your section, but I do want to touch on it. With our Rookie of the Year award that we give out, how you feeling about it? There's also, I believe, your whole team is rookies.
I'll
Is
actually
it not?
I'll actually give me a second. I can get the actual list here.
Let's see.
The highest running rookie in points at the moment is Brandon.
It would be Brandon.
Yeah.
Then you would have Trevor Keith, who is 4 behind. Jeff Israel, Wayne Lowe, Dylan Smoot. Those are the top 5 right now for Rookie of
Nice.
the
You
Year.
got, yeah, and like I said, your whole team, because Smoot came in last year, didn't he?
I think
Like
right there
at
at
the
the end.
very
of the
end.
season.
At the end,
Yeah,
but we
like right when
we
Mike
will still
Robbins-
consider
he's
him
a
a
rookie.
Yeah. So how you feeling about it in your perspective, or from your perspective, what does it look like to you to kind of pull out that the victory in the for that award?
I think for coming into a league that you just get into and stuff like that, and not racing around any of these guys, I think it means a lot, because you guys and the rest of the field that aren't rookies can look at it and be like, okay, he's got the talent, so I think it boosts that ability to have you a little bit more noticed, right? Obviously we're all running for rookie of the guys that are running for it. We're not that far apart from each other as far as point wise, But it gives you that confidence to continue to run as good, as you have been to keep doing what you're doing because obviously it's working. So I just think it would be huge to win it. Um, just for the fact of it's just like, hey, yeah, that's somebody to continue to watch as he continues to get the time under his belt.
I
So
can tell you, last season's Rookie of the Year is having a hell of a year this year.
Yeah, if that's the trend, I got
Yeah.
fucked. I missed my chance.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, missed my chance. When you're looking at the rest of the season, what's a track that you like? For me, Richmond was my track. That was the one where I looked ahead of the season. I saw we had Richmond on the schedule, and I was like, dude, that one's mine. Like, it doesn't matter what I have to do that week. That the 14 car is going to be in victory lane, right? Is there a track that stands out to you?
Yeah, Dover was actually one of them. I had kind of picked Dover to be fast at and have speed there, and I showed to have speed there, and I made the boneheaded move of missing pit lane. So you go all the way down through the gears, and then all of a sudden you're coming all the way back through the gears, and you're not on pit lane. So all that speed going past you. Dover was one of them. I've had a lot of success there. Auto Club, I've had some success there. So yeah, there's been some tracks that I've circled on the map to say, or highlighted, whatever you want to say, I think I could do good here. But the thing about it is the talent here is just tremendous. That Kevin hit on it. That he got the room. Somebody was racing him, and didn't just blow through him when he got a little loose or sideways. You don't find that in too many leagues. They do that. It could be for 15th, and they see a guy get a little sideways and they just don't let out. They just drive right through him for the fact of, they're like, well, that's one more spot for me. So although I have these tracks circled or highlighted in my mind, what does that mean for all the other guys that just, Kevin again hit on that knows those tracks, have got the time on those tracks, because I've only been doing iRacing for a year total. So, although you could have one circled, it doesn't mean you're going to win it. You may have speed there, but you got other guys that just have the veterans of it, and they carry the speed. So you like to think that you're going to show up and win every race, right? That's what we want. Unfortunately, though, you're going to have to minimize the mistakes and make sure that you carry the speed through the whole thing and try to survive, really.
I hate to tell you this, but at Dover, unless you become French Canadian, you ain't got a chance.
Yeah, I
Well,
found
If
that out.
that
Well-
guy can ever get on pit road correctly,
I think everybody
at Dover,
has everybody has a chance. And he made a comment in our team chat yesterday about the French pedals. So he's out there
He's
listening.
listening.
So shout out to the 19 if he's
Yeah.
listening.
good old
yeah,
maple syrup out there.
Yeah, yeah. If he's got the 18 complex, he can just quit doing it to himself. He's got 2 wins in the bag, really. I mean, maybe Rob
I guess
comes out.
if you love the concrete that much, though, Brandon, I mean, how you feel about Nashville?
See, that's the thing. I hate Nashville. I
Really?
absolutely hate
It's
it.
a different animal. It's a different.
Yeah,
It is.
you
It's
got,
totally.
yeah, you got Dover. That's such a short track, and it just carries so much speed off the corner. And you find where a lot of people just can't. Two things happen. They're gonna really burn their tires off of the car. One, because it's concrete track, and two, just the way the banking is and how it comes off. Or two, they're just gonna flat out spin themselves some way or another, or miss pit lane. Like I did, which ran almost 1,000 laps on that track. Right, never hit. Never miss pit lane. And then you're running up front, and then all of a sudden you miss pit lane. It's like, oh my gosh.
Pressure does it to you.
Yeah, because that's another thing. I mean, that's a great thing. I have way more pressure racing with you guys when I'm in the front than, say, some of these other leagues that I run in. Some of these leagues that I am the top runner, right? I am the one that's out there, 2, 3, 4 seconds ahead of somebody, or sweeping some stages and possibly getting it all done at one time. So the pressure, again, you just hit on it. The pressure becomes a thing on the tracks that you think you're going to be good at, but then you choke due to something, minor. You don't check your tires, so you go through the first stage and you don't have the tires to do it. And we all make mistakes, right? But, the pressure becomes more and more, right? the laps start winding down. You're running up front. Tuesday night, it was a pit car or a lap car that got me on pit lane. I was running second at Kansas, and a lap car gets me on pit lane. So that's something out of my hands, but it's one of those things that it's the variables are going to come and go. It's just how you're able to overcome those.
How do you feel about Darlington?
So, man, Darlington, woo, yeah, Darlington's it's a fun track. The uniqueness of it, of the two turns, or the four turns, being different, right? 1 and 2 is different than 3 and 4. So there's no way to set the car up, because you're either going to be really good in this, 3 and 4, or you're going to be really bad in 1 and 2. So finding the balance of that car to be able to just be competitive is already a feat, right? Because it's an abnormal track. But it's one of those tracks that's just super fun. The way you run it, the way the tires wear on it, how you have to adapt to the slickness that comes pretty much immediately once you get on track, even 10, 15, laps into the run. Not only that, the Darlington stripe, man, the famous Darlington stripe. How much are you going to flirt with that top side before it gets you?
I can tell you
Hit
right
myself
now.
about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Probably gonna hit it on the first lap if I start on the outside row.
Well,
I
if you're
can,
Justice
You
in
might hit
A
on the first
official,
lap from the inside, bro.
I could.
Say-
I very well could.
so
I
if you're
know,
Justice in A official, he wore it the fuck out.
Yeah, I think that I moved that wall about 2 inches off the field.
Yeah.
I
It
know,
definitely
Put the
didn't have
safer
any dust
barrier
on it.
there for a reason.
I know me and Bennett can attest to us. We just did actually a fix before doing the podcast, and whatever you remember about Darlington, throw it out the fucking
Throw it out
window,
the window.
because that thing is totally different. It is so much, I wouldn't say so much slower, but 3 and 4 is a lot slower than what it used to be. 1 and 2 you have to enter in differently. It's a totally different animal than what it was. I don't know if it's because we're running in the afternoon or what, or the update that they just did, but it was quite a challenge for those 50 laps.
The update to the car that we got right before we ran Vegas, um, which is the correct thing. I mean, it's the correct change to the car based on what you see in real life. But that update, they significantly tightened the car up on all fixed setups, and that totally changes, right? Because tracks where you want to run the wall, as weird as it sounds, you want it to be a loose car, because you can kind of drive the tail end with the side force off the wall. And you don't have that ability in a tight car. Like, you're driving it off the nose, off the wall, which is how you end up just killing your right front tire. So it's very tough. I ran a fixed earlier this week. And like Bennett said, I wore out the wall on the exit of turn 2, but I think you're going to see probably just as many mistakes this season as you did last season when we ran it. I mean, even though the car was super loose and was set up well for Darlington, and I was super quick there, I just didn't get to make the race, but I just knew how to use that rear end really well off the wall. This year, it's not going to be that way.
I wonder if it's going to be as exciting as it was last year. Last 20 laps, just watching the 24 and the 9 car battle it out. I specifically remember watching that, not being a part of either one of their teams, and just locked in on that battle. So hopefully we get that this year in some sense.
I had a great time last year
I
at
bet you did.
Darlington.
I
You
wish
did.
I'd have been at
Uh,
the race.
So, Brandon, I know you weren't here last season, so really quick to sum up what all the excitement is about, because the bracket challenge is me and Jeremy going up against each other at Darlington. Last season, what Darlington was the last race to the Championship 4. At the Championship 4 is basically already a lock with Caleb, uh, Rob,
Rob
and
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 Trevor.
Trevor already in the Championship 4. Jeremy was in the 4th spot. I was in the 5th spot for the playoffs, and it basically came down to who was going to win that race or who was going to finish higher. We ended up getting a little lucky with Grant ended up getting out of that race with a wreck. Trevor ended up wrecking out of that race. So it was really came down to me and Jeremy. And
Well,
for
and Rob and Caleb lost a ton of track position too.
yeah,
Yeah.
they ended up fucking themselves on pit road or whatever it was, and it ended up being me
Well,
and
they were also your
Jeremy.
teammates.
So
Yeah.
last season, Caleb and Rob were my teammates, yes, but they allowed me and Jeremy to fight it out for the last 30 so laps, and it was just a dogfight. It was man against man. It was literally, my hands were sweating. I wear fucking gloves, and I felt like the sweat was going through the goddamn gloves. That's how crazy it was. But luckily enough, I came out on top, and yeah, so that's what all the hype is about this coming week.
I've seen a little bit of the Discord. I've seen the shit talking already.
Oh,
Yeah.
it always makes it better when there's some
I'm
shit talking
guessing.
involved.
I'm guessing if I beat Grant this week, he will definitely just leave my drunk ass in the garage this time. If I get drunk
Well,
in Nashville
this
again.
is the first week Grant's actually gonna have competition because he's had 2 bye weeks with the drivers he's been up against not showing
I
up.
also have.
Yeah.
I had Travis and then Bennett. So
Yeah,
Ah,
that's a
that's
fucking
right.
bummer. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
the
Anyways,
double
moving
bye
on.
guys are facing each other.
We'll have our matchup, and when it is,
Yeah.
it's going to be biblical. But so going in, does anybody have any thoughts on Darlington? Kevin, I don't know if you've touched on how you kind of feel about going into it.
I never know how I feel about Darlington. It's one of those tracks that, personally, it's not one of my favorites. But at the same time, it's a track that I tend to find myself up in the mix at some point. I'll be happy with a top 10 at Darlington. If I keep the fenders on the car, that's a win in my book for that track. But, if I get an opportunity, if I'm within, if I'm in the top 4, top 5, I'm gonna probably try something stupid and end up in the wall trying to win it. But that's just how it goes.
Do what
Love
Larson
it.
did against Denny.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit, I'm usually, again, Nick hinted at the fact the track is different than usual, but Darlington is one of those tracks I'm really good in 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, I can't get it. I cannot tell you how many laps of practice I've run at that track, and I cannot get 3 and 4.
I'm gonna say something, Kevin. This surprises absolutely nobody that's raced with you for any extended period of time
No.
because 3 and 4 take finesse, and you don't exactly have any.
I ain't got finesse. There's a reason I'm good at the tracks I'm good at, and it's
That's
it's not
exactly
because of
right.
finesse. It's because you just
Okay.
drive the
Exactly.
car on the edge, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Well, with that, let's roll into. I think I don't know. We're gonna have to take a poll and see, like, of our 4 viewers that listen to this, to see if that's their favorite part. It's definitely my favorite part of the entire podcast. Winners. Brandon, I'm sure with you listening to the podcast, you probably know how this goes. I'll go ahead and run through it though. So what we're gonna do, you're gonna get to go first, being the honorary guest. You're going to get to pick a winner for Darlington, who you think has the best chance, and then
I
you're
got
also
an
going to
idea
go
for the
through.
second one.
Oh, we're not going to do upset winner, or do we want to do 3?
No, no. Pick a
Okay.
winner and the first person to get a stripe. Since
First
it's
person
Darlington.
get a stripe.
Before turn
Okay.
1, no, I already got someone picked out.
Can we all say Kevin?
Yeah, because I was gonna say it
Yeah.
sounds like this dude is already.
I'll take care of it
Yeah.
during a pace lap. It's all
Yeah.
right.
Kevin's
He's
probably already got a stripe.
Yeah, he's saying
I mean-
keep the
I haven't
fenders
been to
on
the
as a
track
win.
since October. We're good.
I mean, the man said it. He could start on the inside, and he's still gonna get the first strike.
I'm
So
fine.
tell you what, we'll do 3. We'll do 3, okay? Because that one I feel like is going to be pretty easy. I think we can all think of 3 guys right off the top of our head that we think it's going to be. But so we'll do winner. We'll do upset winner. Somebody you think just could sneaky get in there, get their win, and then how many times Kevin's going to get the stripe.
That's a good one. I like
What
the
are we
third one.
doing?
Yeah. I don't know. You're probably
I'm
going to do probably 5 more than what the lap count is.
So I'm actually going to go with Jeremy Burns on that one because I really feel like I talked to him for a long time after what was his first win? Auto Club?
Auto Club.
Yep.
Yeah. I talked to him for quite some time, probably an hour and a half or so after the race. Got to know him, pretty well, and and he was telling me about his rookie season and stuff like that. And just seeing what I've seen him do on the several different tracks this season, he's just shown a lot of speed. Clearly, he was one of the guys that was looking to get it done last season with Nick here. So I would probably that's probably going to be my pick. He's going to be coming back for that redemption, right? He wants that win, so that would be the pick to win. My upset win, I got to go with my teammate, man, Dylan Smoot. If I'm not mistaken, he finished 4th in that race. So, if the cards play well for him, I know you talked about the track being different, but maybe it fits his driving style just a little bit more to maybe progress that. So Smoot would probably be my upset win. And then Kevin, let's see, getting into the wall. Can I say one for every lap?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking it might be just there's 4 turns, so how you want to count it?
Let's see.
Well,
How many
I
laps
guess
are
it
we running?
depends. If you drag the whole way around, if you're trying to chastain this thing, is that just one whole turn?
I had somebody do that in my official. Tried to pass me on the last lap and chastain around, and it did not work for him.
No.
That wall is too grippy out there in 3 and 4. You can't do
Yeah.
it at Darlington.
See, we're doing 147 laps.
So there you go, 147 stripes.
147 times.
147 stripes.
At least I'll say, just it doesn't matter if you're in, you could probably have more than, well, you're only going to get 2 per lap per corner, obviously, because you talk about how grippy the wall is. So I wouldn't count it as 2 per lap. I would just say 147.
All right. I think I can deal with that. I might be able to get a top 10 with that.
All right. Well, Kevin, since you're the stripe guy, you want to go next?
Sure, why not? Let's see. Who's gonna win this one? I'm gonna go out and say it might be Caleb Gilbert. He's been strong all season, and just I think does he have 1 win so far?
Yep.
Yeah, just
But
Vegas.
he was pretty good during the playoffs last season at Darlington, and if he can get the strategy together this season and stay up in the front and be there at the end, I think he's got a good chance to win it. And along those lines, as far as surprise winner, someone else that's been performing really well and doesn't have a win yet is our guest tonight, Brandon. I mean, he has been running up front, and he doesn't have a win, but I think, actually, let me check because I'm really curious now. I think he might be highest in points without a win.
I believe he is.
Mhm.
He's the highest person in points without a win. And, with the way he's been driving, Darlington might just be one of those tracks where if he puts himself in the right spot at the end, someone battling up for the lead, two drivers mess up, and he just comes driving by. Anything can happen. And as
I'll
far as
take
hitting
that.
the wall, I'm gonna aim for less than 100. Gonna aim for less than 100. No promises, but I'm gonna try.
All right. I'll go to next here. I'm gonna go with my winner. I'm gonna go with my teammate, the 19. I want to see this dude win so bad. It's unreal. He's fast. It seems like week in, week out, everywhere we go. And when he doesn't fuck himself, somebody fucks him, and it's just. I think he could. I think he could pull this out. And honestly, I might have the Trevor Keith complex. I might pick him until he wins, and then just keep putting it in his face. Upset winner. Oh, that's a tough one. I'd like to see one of the new guys, like I don't know, or actually, you know what? Maybe
Definitely
even Brandon.
Joe.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna be Joe.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna go with the 29 carp. With Brandon Richardson. I hope another guy, aside from Justice's total reaction right there, I hope old Lemon Juice gets him one. And it would be cool to see him do
Oh
it.
my God.
It would be cool to see him do it at Darlington. So we'll see. Could be
Just
sneaky
tell you,
up
there's
there.
plenty of rubber in Darlington.
Hey, that's right. As far as stripes, I'm gonna go with a hard 43.
43.
43. Because normally we joke, Kevin, you're not gonna hit the wall 147 times and
If
still
I
that
do,
would
I
fucking
be
be
might park it
racing.
impressive.
early.
Yeah, you're not gonna be racing. You
Hey,
won't get
I
there. I
might
think
hit it
realistic.
147 times.
I think realistically, we come back next week. Kevin keeps a count. Maybe we give $10 to one of our viewers and have them count how many times Orlando hits the wall. See what happens. I think I'm pretty close.
Hey, does pit wall count?
Oh God.
If you hit
Let's
pit
not have them
wall, I
count
hope
the
you don't end
hole.
up keep driving.
I'll
Yeah,
probably get
yeah.
stuck on it, but we'll
Facts.
see how it goes. You know me. I don't care if there's fenders on the car, tires on the car. I'm gonna finish the race.
All right, Justice, who you got?
Oh man. All right. So I won't. Well, I'll take my actual winner first. My actual winner's gonna be Grant. Was quick there last. I see you, Nick. I know
Yeah.
that's who you
He
wanted.
was gonna win that
Um,
race last year.
But he
he
didn't.
was quick. Different driving car, so you never know. But Grant's still got the speed. He'll be there. Surprise winner. That's a tough one. I would. Yeah, I'll take him. I'll take my teammate Wayne Lowe. I think at some point he breaks through. He's quick, but if he can keep the 15 from running him over, it'd be nice. He probably had a good chance yesterday until that happened. So, yeah, I think
You might
he'll
have to
finally get
try a
it
different
done.
color.
Also, I'm going to take the 18 car to get a Darlington stripe more often than Kevin.
Is
Man,
that a
so
challenge?
your whole team's just put on. All right. Well, how many times has Kevin hit it?
Oh, this many too.
Two.
That's how
a
many
I
half.
times
give
it
Kevin
takes for him to
props.
get
All
out of the
right, go
race.
eat.
I
Go
give
eat.
Kevin
Yeah,
props.
that's
Boys, I'll
Dude,
see y'all later.
I hit the
all
wall
right.
more than that last night at Kansas.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
okay.
gonna need more than two. I think Justice is high. Anyways.
Alright, so I'm gonna take someone that also got wrecked out last year that seemed like he had top 3 speed, and I'm just gonna be Trevor Earhart. Um, I think if he can stay out of trouble, unlike he did last season, he has a real good shot at winning. My upset winner, I'm gonna go with a guy that's been literally fast probably everywhere. I know the last 2 races it seems he was struggling a lot, but I think he ends up turning it around, and I'm gonna pick Jeff Israel as my
Oh,
upset
good
winner.
pick.
And then Kevin, I respect you, I really do.
Oh no,
Just
it's coming.
you suck when it comes to walls, so I'm gonna go with a hard 5-0 for how many times you're gonna get that stripe, and I think you're gonna end up that number 50 is gonna be the one that ends your night.
That's gonna be the
Right
pit
on the
wall.
even number, huh?
That's gonna
That
be a
is
pit
gonna
wall
be
and a
the
green
pit
flag pit
wall,
stop.
pit barrels, yeah, dude, you're done after 50.
If I manage to park it on the barrels, I'm leaving the car there for the whole night.
That go ahead, you can pull a Ted from what was it? Charlotte,
Yeah, when he was
Texas
stuck
or
in
what
the
it was?
fence, right?
Yeah. No, he was
Oh,
in the
Jesus.
barrels. He was stuck in the barrels under the green white checkered, and he
Hold on.
kept it there. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
you're right. I forgot about
Oh,
that one.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
All right. Well, one last thing. Those are all good picks. I think we've got a good race on our hands. One last thing. Do we want to talk about lap 114?
I think we
Real
have
quick.
to, just because of the way the broadcast, highlighted that. We
Yep.
can't not talk about it. There's too
Yeah.
many questions.
So, lap
Well, we'll let the
114.
admin go ahead and
With lap
deal with those.
114, there was a lot of questions about what happened, why it was a caution, and then basically why the fuck did that guy do that. So Parker Johnston, driver number 48 car, looked like he just stopped on track on the backstretch and it brought out a caution. So come to find out, it wasn't what we thought it was, thankfully, because there'll be a hefty penalty coming because of that. So 2 laps prior, he was going to pit and he missed pit road, so he just went around again. Came back around again, and he ended up actually making it to pit road, but his countdown for his pit was off or something, and he missed his pit box by like 3 or 4. And he knew if he put it in reverse and he backed up, he was going to get a black flag, and he didn't want to take the chance of, adding more insult to injury by making himself wait longer. So he ended up was like, I can make it again around again, ends up coming out of 2, and he's already out of gas. And with him being so slow on speed coming out of pit road, he couldn't make it around his car. And I'll give him credit. He did a good enough job trying to come all the way left as far as he could. It was just one of those iRacing things where it caught a car on quote unquote track and brought out a caution. So I know raised a lot of eyebrows and question marks about what the hell is going on. So that's ended up what happening. Parker gave us a really good explanation. Us as admins went back and we reviewed it extensively, and it was what he said it was. And unfortunately, it just brought out a caution that kind of altered that race a little bit.
Good
Uh-oh.
explanation of it. So cool. All right. Well, coming to the end here, do we have any closing thoughts? Anything else we want to touch on before we let Mr. Hopefully, well, I won't jinx it, but Mr. Dunford head out of here?
I have one question actually. So, Brandon, I know my way around a short track. I race real life as well. You look like the type of guy that races in real life, and you look like the type of guy that either has a late model or a street stock. Am I correct?
No, no. Been around it a lot though.
Okay.
I have, been in cars, never actually raced one, but I have been around it. I got my Michael Hines shirt on, super late model here. So I've been around it a lot, been around a lot of the cars, done a lot of that short track stuff. So 50% right.
I'll take it as a passing grade.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
But I do want to say, thank you all so much for, having me here. Of course, it's so much fun to race with you guys, week in, week out. I love racing in general. So of course, every time I get to race, on the sim, it's kind of my happy place, right? It's kind of where I can, decompress everything. Even if you have a bad night with that is still better than what could be going on. So just gotta thank y'all for having me in R&R, and then having me on this podcast as well. Definitely shout out to my teammate Dylan Smoot. I got Dylan Dunford on my team as well, but man, the times just aren't really lining up for him like he thought they would. But I'll give him a shout out as well.
Awesome. Well,
Awesome.
we're glad you came on. We're glad you're in the league. I know it's hard to quote unquote meet new guys while racing in the league, so the podcast is a nice little interaction to get to know who you are, what you're all about, and it's great to hear your story. And you're a fantastic driver, a clean driver, a fast driver, and we couldn't be happier to have you here at RR as well.
I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. It's definitely been a blast. Fun getting to know you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, I believe that's it for this one. So we'll close it out, man. This is a good one.
All right.
Yep. All
Hey,
right,
everybody.
peace, guys.
Good one.